Welcome back to week 4 out of 20 of building the healthiest version of me. It has now been an entire month, and for saying my only goal here was consistency, I think I've done pretty good. I have managed to get a reel out every week, one which is part of the series Building the Healthiest Version of Me, a second reel each week with little clips from these videos, and then last week I managed to get a couple out which included different parts of my training. Obviously last week I spoke to you about my menstrual cycle and how that can sometimes have a little bit of a negative effect on my training and my nutrition. This week I have just given you some little clips of me enjoying a little bit more chocolate versus the last couple of weeks where I've been showing you my healthy breakfasts, and indicating that not every week the weight that I see on the scales is something that I'm happy with. And I do definitely want to talk a little bit more about both of those things. So just to give you a really quick brief overview of my training this week, because obviously that's been a running theme throughout. I have managed to get all 3 sessions in and have been pretty happy with all of them. I am week 2 of this block, so things are still nice and light, but definitely seeing some good numbers, so I'm really excited for the end of this block. And I have managed to run twice this week. I ran a 6-kilometer interval on Thursday morning, which was nice, actually felt a little bit easier. And then this morning, so Sunday, I actually went to my first ever run club, and I felt really nervous about it. I think if you throw me in a gym, any gym, the whole gym anxiety has faded for me. I feel confident enough in what I'm doing and my knowledge and ability that I'm pretty comfortable in the gym environment. Whereas running is a super new thing for me, and I had no idea what to expect, but it was actually a super nice paced run and was super fun. It was so nice just to be with a group of girls and just chat and move, and it was really nice. So I would recommend finding a really nice group of girls or guys and running together if you don't already, because it's great. So that is all my training this week. I have done everything that I wanted to do, and where kind of the theme of this week is more around being realistic, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I have issues with my hips, which maybe in another video I will go into detail about, but it has been since birth. I have an amazing physio that I work with, and Callum, my coach, is pretty good at making accommodations where needed as well, although it doesn't really affect my lifting as such. Currently, I am having a huge issue with taking impact whilst running. Now, I definitely want to look at how I run. Ethan's really good at helping with this, but technique is definitely something that will help the issues that I'm having. I also need to look at the trainers I'm running in. I feel like that makes a huge difference. But this week has been more painful than I would have liked. Thursday's run in particular, the rest of the day I was in quite a lot of pain. So that is something that I need to address, and just thought I may as well share. My nutrition this week hasn't been bad. I have tracked every day and had my meal I've pretty much been eating the same thing every day actually, and that's been absolutely fine. It's been working. Now, I am fully aware that a lot of my videos do touch on tracking calories, and I absolutely know that that's not for everyone. Out of the 20 whatever clients I have currently, I can confidently say I know 3, 4, maybe 5 of them track food. The rest of them we just try and instill healthy habits, and that comes around awareness and knowledge of what food contains. So you can definitely work towards a goal without tracking calories. I personally find tracking, especially with the life I live, a lot easier because it just takes the thinking out of it. Every morning I put in what I want to eat, if I need a little bit more protein, or if I'm pushing a little bit far on the calorie side, I just change something up, and it's really easily manageable, and I find that works, but I know not everybody does. So if you are, for example, looking at losing weight, as a lot of my clients are, and tracking doesn't work for you, I have clients in particular that work in the city and go out for lunch or have client dinners, that type of thing, and tracking just isn't feasible. So I would say learning how to make sure a meal has a good source of protein, has some veggies or greens, is just a more mindful way of approaching your nutrition if tracking doesn't work for you. And I just wanted to mention that because I know that the theme around my nutrition is how I'm tracking calories, which is something that I do myself. And I am not always 100% tracking. I tend to track Monday to Friday, and I don't go crazy at the weekends. I don't eat too differently on the weekends, but I do just like to have that break from having a complete fix on tracking. And sometimes I give similar advice to clients in terms of having a weekly calorie target rather than a daily calorie target, because if you do like to have a little bit more on the weekends, you can kind of make up for that by having a little bit less through the week, and for some people that really works better. For me, I just like to be as on it Monday to Friday as possible, and over the weekend try and eat very similar to how I would in the week, but just not fixate over hitting numbers or making sure I'm not going over numbers, essentially. And that is where in this reel I just included a couple of snippets of me enjoying finishing some of the brownie mix after making a batch of brownies, eating a chocolate bar or a pastry, because that is normal and is how I balance my life and enjoy my life whilst still tracking calories and working towards a goal. So there's a lot that can be done in terms of managing your nutrition, and if you want to chat more about that, I'm always here to talk about nutrition. It is one of my favourite topics. I then am just going to briefly touch on the couple of clips of me weighing myself on the scales. Now, I'm a firm believer that the number does not matter, and for a lot of my clients we look at all sorts of measurements. We look at your body fat percentage, your muscle mass, and sometimes a physical measurement of hip to waist. We also use progress pictures, which is personally one of my favourites. You can see a lot more in that. A lot of my clients that are on weight loss goals also notice it in their clothes. So there are so many other ways of tracking progress compared to just weighing yourself, and the number doesn't show you absolutely everything. Where I have been looking a little bit into weight classes for powerlifting, I know that I don't need to really be working towards anything in particular at this point, but it is something that I still have a little look at. I am not 100% happy with where my weight sits at the minute, and that doesn't have an effect on what I'm eating, my activity levels, how I'm feeling. It's just I'm not even very aware, I'm just slightly aware that that is the number, and I would rather it was something else, but I'm not really doing too much about it, to be honest. I just wanted to make a point that even though I am happy with how much I'm lifting and what my body is doing and how I'm feeling and my health in general, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm 100% happy with the weight on the scales. And that is why I shouldn't just go by that one metric, because as I just said, I'm happy with so many other things. I think the final thing I just wanted to touch on was Instagram has created this lovely space where in order to post fitness content, you feel like you have to be wearing brand new gym sets every week and all the latest gear, looking super aesthetic to be able to train. I just think there's a lot of pressure on looking aesthetic in order to do the movement, and it's so unnecessary. I wear for my sessions the same 3 pair of leggings on rotation, the same 3 tops, and haven't bought anything new for, I want to say, well over a year. And that doesn't matter, and it really shouldn't matter, but I think there feels like a lot of pressure to be doing it in new gym wear and the best stuff. I have everything I need to train. Obviously I have knee sleeves and a belt and wrist wraps for my lifting, and I didn't go out and buy all of those straight away. What did I start with? I think I started with wrist wraps because I was feeling a lot of pressure when benching, and my wrist wraps when I bought them were like £20. And then when I got my first powerlifting coach, not even straight away either, but a couple of months in, I bought my first belt and learned how to brace with that. And then it was only when I signed up for a comp and decided to compete that I bought knee sleeves. But all of those things were very gradual and when I felt I needed them. And I don't know, I guess the point I'm trying to make is you don't have to buy all the gear to be able to do something. And I don't know, maybe nobody else feels like it, but I just think that a lot of people that post on Instagram make you feel like you do have to be dressing a little bit nicer or using various equipment or whatever. So I'm basically just saying, if you do feel that pressure as well, I feel it too, and it's so unnecessary. So there, that is me. This video in particular was just supposed to be a little bit around keeping things realistic. I do still eat chocolate even though I am tracking my food and trying to be the healthiest version of me. I'm not going to be the healthiest version of me if I completely cut chocolate and crisps out, because there will just become a point where that is all I want to eat. So I have to include it somewhere in a healthy way in order to be the healthiest version of me. I'm also only going to be the healthiest version of me if my mental health is also on a good upwards stream, and living a restrictive life is not going to do that for me. I also am not always happy with the number on the scales, but I am happy with so many other things that I am doing, and that should be more important than the number on the scales at this point in time. And finally, just because Instagram is super aesthetic doesn't mean that you need to be spending loads of money on new gym outfits and equipment that are unnecessary all from the get-go. Training should be about moving your body and enjoying moving your body, rather than feeling the pressure of looking the part before you're able to do the movement. Obviously, some things come as you start training, but from the get-go, you should just be able to enjoy moving your body in whatever you're comfortable in. So please go and do that. I did put a question box on my Instagram, and I'm not expecting anything from it, but I did get one question which I found hilarious, and if Ethan wasn't currently recovering from having his appendix out, I would get him to be here to answer this, because it is actually all about him. Is it true that Ethan's power comes from the tash, or is that a myth? So if you don't know Ethan, he has a super impressive tash and he is also extremely powerful. I would like to think that the tash, and when he had the mullet, RIP, definitely contributed to his training. Hopefully the tash will not disappear. So hopefully we'll never know the true answer to that question, but I like to think it adds to the training. If you want to be the most powerful, you don't need new gym wear, new trainers, X, Y, and Z, grow a tash and a mullet. That's what you should take away from this video. If you have stayed this far, please give the video a thumbs up, leave a little comment if you can, and I will see you again very, very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.